So I remember when I was moving to the UK and everyone kept telling me, don't stay in London, don't stay in London. It's too expensive to stay in London. Move outside London, move to the north, move to this place and all the rest. Like, I didn't listen by the way, but in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the cost of living in London and the average salary that I think you need to be able to live comfortably in London. Hi guys, thank you very much for coming to my channel today. My name is Jadisola, and if you are new here, I talk about a variety of topics about moving to the UK. I talk about my life as a product manager. I talk about finance and business. So if you like this kind of content, please make sure you subscribe before you exit this video. And if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to be breaking down the cost of living in London. I'm going to start with a bit of the fixed costs that I think, and then maybe some of the variable costs. I've got like, my note on this piece of paper, so just in case I'm looking down, just know that I'm looking at that. Try and watch till the end of this video because I'm going to also be sharing how much salary I think you need to be earning in order to live comfortably here in London. So the first expense we're going to be looking at today is usually like the largest expense that anyone would have within a month, and that is the rent. So when I think about when someone is like living comfortably, I'm looking at maybe you're living by yourself, or maybe you have an average of like a one bed apartment. So that's sort of like what I'm going to be looking at. So to live in like a fairly decent one bed apartment here in London, you need between, I'd say maybe £1,300 and £1,600, depending on where you live. It is no news that a lot of the apartments in London are generally in the UK, they're like shoe boxes, they're really small, and which is why, like, for me, like looking at a studio is not usually like an option for me when I'm thinking about living comfortably. So it can be really tiny. So for you to get like a maybe decent apartment, I would say look at between 1,300 and 1,600. So an alternative to getting like a one bed, if you want to live by yourself, will probably be to explore like taking a studio. So you could get like a studio for like maybe £1,000. So the next cost we're going to be looking at is the council tax. So if you're living by yourself, the UK government will give you a 25% discount on your council tax. And usually it's like in bands. So where I currently stay, it's like £150 per month. But because I'm living alone, I get 25% discount. So that comes down to about £120. So I would always say like budget between maybe 90 to £120 if you're living by yourself. So the next cost I'm going to be looking at is your utility bill. So this covers things like your water, your gas bills, your electricity bill. And I would say this fluctuates because depending on the time of the year, so like when it's cold, usually people pay more because they have to turn on their heater for the most part. And then during like spring and summertime, they're able to save money on utility bills. So I would say on the average you can pay between £150 to £200 per month, depending on how much water or electricity or gas that you use, and the time of the year as well. I remember when I got my first utility bill in my current apartment, and I think I'd moved in like 18 days before the end of the month, and when I saw that my heating cost more than 50% of my total bill, I was like, uh-oh, we can't do this. So anyways, it's something to watch out for. So the next cost I'm going to be looking at is a TV license. So this is like a fee that you have to pay to the government if you are streaming live TV, or if you're watching like core BBC channels. So it's about £159 a year. A lot of people try to avoid paying this, by the way. I remember in my old apartment, like they would usually send like threatening letters. Oh, you guys have been identified as watching TV in this house, and then you guys are not paying, so we're going to take you to court, we're going to do this, we're going to fine you, this and that. So it's something to watch out for, like but then you pay per annum, so it's not like a monthly bill that you have. The next bill I'm going to be talking about is I would say internet. So like you may be lucky, there are times that the apartment you're living in may come with Wi-Fi, but if you have to provide that yourself, you can get companies that can give you broadband internet access for like maybe between 10 to 20 pounds a month. That's sort of like the average expense you should be looking at if you're thinking of having your own broadband. uh the next one we're going to be looking at is your phone bill. So there is phone bill without maybe a phone contract with it, and then there's phone bill with just your unlimited call times, and then also internet access as well. So I currently use EE, and I pay about 22 pounds for obviously unlimited calls, and then about 160 gig of data. And this is without like a phone. So I'm using my phone that I've had from Nigeria, so I didn't get a phone from the company. If you're buying it from the company, you might be looking at an average of, I would say, maybe 40 to 50 pounds ballpark cost. So you usually would pay this on a monthly basis via direct debit. So the next cost we're going to be looking at is transportation. And I would say this varies because it depends on your frequency of going out. It also depends on like if you're crossing zones, which I didn't even know this before, because I was formerly living where I was formerly living. Yeah, I realized that I used to spend about £6 a day to go to work, and then I moved, and then I started to pay £8 60 pence a day, going to work. So let's say like you're going to work like maybe 3 times a week on the average, because most companies do like hybrid. You could be spending between £100 to £150, and that's really like covering things like your underground train ride, to maybe taking a bus, to maybe taking an Uber. If you're trying to save money, don't take the black card. Don't say I didn't warn you. So transportation will usually be around that. I currently spend about I would say, on the average, maybe about £100 a month on transportation, and that includes me going to work, and also maybe traveling down to see maybe a few friends within London as well. So about that, but I'd say budget between 100 and £150 for transportation. The next cost we're going to be looking at is groceries. Now, this also varies a lot because groceries, I would say, is relatively cheap here in the UK. So if you're buying like regular stuff, your tomatoes, your pepper, they're relatively cheap. And if you also go to stores that are not like bougie, like Sainsbury's and Waitrose, you can legitimately like spend maybe an average of like £100 a month on your groceries. But then if you're trying to buy things from like ethnic stores, like I'm a Nigerian and I love my African food. Some of the food stuff that ordinarily you may not be able to find in regular stores, and you can only find them in maybe Afro-Caribbean stores, might be slightly more expensive. I'd always tell people, don't try to do conversion to your local currency, because you might just think that, hey, this is not worth it. Like this is like maybe a bit too expensive. So if you're shopping in regular stores, you can spend between like 100 to £150 on your groceries. But if you're doing majorly like ethnic stores, you may be spending more, maybe slightly more. It may not be that different, to be fair. The next cost we're going to be looking at is like toiletries. So things like your toothpaste, your tissue paper, your detergents. You could be spending, I'd say, maybe between 30 to 50 pounds a month on toiletries. And this also varies, like if you are bougie and you have all these skincare routine and skincare products and expensive makeup that you have to buy within a month, then your cost might actually be going higher. So the last fixed cost I'm going to be talking about is salon visits. And I would say, like, it's different from men and women. So if you're looking at, say, as a woman, you're making your hair, let's say once a month, depending on what you're doing, you could spend between £50 to £150 making your hair. If you're an African woman and you're trying to braid your hair, for example, those kind of hairstyles are quite pricey here, and it could cost you between £70 to £100 to make braids. So it really depends on what you're trying to do to your hair, and then maybe some of the treatments that you're also trying to do at the salons. For men, I would say maybe average haircut is between, I'll say maybe £10 to £20, depending on also how frequently you go to the barber. So if you're doing like twice a month, you could be spending between 20 to 40 pounds cutting your hair within a month. So now let's go to the variable costs. So I'm going to start with the almighty hanging out costs. So one thing that they do here a lot in the UK, but specifically in London, is people are always hanging out. They like going to pubs. They like doing like after work drinks. There's always something that they like to do. And if you're doing that, say twice a week, you could be setting yourself back at least 10 to 15 pounds per hangout. So if you're doing like an average of 30 pounds a week, if you multiply that by 4, that means you're doing an average of like 120 pounds per month. If you're ordering in as well, it comes down to a different kind of cost as well, because if you're ordering, say, African food or Chinese food via any of these apps, it could cost you between I would say maybe £18 to £25, including delivery per order. So if you do that twice a month, that's already almost £50 that you need to budget for monthly eat out, so to speak. Another thing that I also maybe want to look at is I'll say entertainment or subscription based entertainment. So things like your Netflix, your Disney Plus, Amazon Prime. You could be spending between 20 to 30 pounds on that on a monthly basis if you have all three that I even mentioned, just like me. So that could actually raise your subscription cost. But if you're just sticking to one, it could cost you maybe about £10 per month. Another variable cost that I would think about is, if you're trying to live comfortably, is maybe just traveling and just moving around different places in England or in UK in general. So let's say you travel to a different part for like I'll say maybe 2 days. So let's say a weekend in a month. That could set you back literally, plus your hotel cost and maybe feeding and maybe activities. It could set you back like 200 to 250 pounds a month. So these are like things that I would say in terms of like variable costs that you may need to look at. Now let us now go to how much salary do you need to be earning in order to be able to afford to live comfortably here in London. So let's look at your rent. So let's say on the average you're spending say £1,000 on rent. And then we can look at your council tax. So let's say you're single, like me, you'll probably spend maybe another £120 a month. And then your utilities, so which could include your water, electricity, gas, and maybe if you break down your TV license, for example, into a monthly cost, you could actually spend about £150 on that on a monthly basis. The next cost we're going to look at as well is your phone and internet. So let's say you spend like another £20 on phone and internet within a month. Your transportation, let's assume that maybe you go to work twice a week and then you hang out a few times and you only use the train and maybe the bus, so no Uber or taxi. You could be spending maybe £120 a month on that. And then for groceries, I would say maybe on the average you spend £100 a month. So this is assuming that maybe you don't finish everything that you normally would buy in a month, and then you're just buying the portion that you need. So let's budget £100 for that. And your toiletries, let's put that at maybe £25 a month. The next cost we're going to be looking at is let's say you're making your hair. That should probably cost you on the average, say £70 a month. So I'm assuming that just the average of maybe whether you're a man or a woman, I'll put it at £70. And then the last one I'll probably be looking at is maybe you're hanging out with your friends. That should probably come down to maybe £50. So you eat out, you hang out, you go for drinks. So let's just average that out at £50. So this comes down to £1,655 per month. So I used like a salary calculator. So assuming that you're earning this exact amount and you don't have any savings at all, you should be earning at least £24,000 per annum. But then I don't recommend that you're living like paycheck to paycheck, like easily you'll get into debt. So I'm going to assume that, let's say you're able to save £500 per month. So if I add that to the £1,655, that will come down to about £2,155 pounds per month. So what this means is that you need to be earning at least £33,000 per annum. And to be fair, like I think that if you're able to cut down on your rent, which is like the largest cost. So for example, if you're single and you're staying in a flat share, you could get like a decent room, living with other people for maybe £700, and that could give you an extra £300 that you can add to your savings in a month. So I know that there may be other things that I didn't remember to mention in terms of your fixed cost and also some of the variable costs that you might be incurring within a month. But I think this just gives you an idea of what you should probably be targeting if you're looking at living in London. Now, if you are like a double income household, it's much easier, and that's why people always talk about, like, if you're moving as a family, if you're an African, like the mentality needs to change because everyone now needs to contribute to the household income. If, for example, at 3,000 pounds per annum, husband and wife could legitimately be earning about £16,000 each, and then they're able to contribute to the household. But then if you have like family, you have kids, that you need to be targeting a higher salary. And if you're earning anything less than that, either as an individual or combined household income, you should probably be targeting living outside London, because means that you might be living from paycheck to paycheck, which I would not recommend. So if you think I've left anything out, feel free to add, those expenses in the comment section. And if you would love to share your experience as well in terms of like your average monthly expense, I know that utility bills right now is going crazy, especially for families who are now spending between 400 and 500 pounds per month. But then that's story for another day. So if you're in this category, please feel free to share your comments in the comment section. And if you've enjoyed this content, you know what to do. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you next time. Bye.